Cyberpunk's first lyrical poem, mixing Kabbalah, manga, pop culture trivia, and Zen with enough style and dexterity to actually pull it off. McDonald does more in a page than most writers do in a chapter. Neil Stephenson. Hello and welcome to Liam's Lyceum. I'm your host Liam, aka Himvar. Today I'll be doing a spoiler-free review of Ian McDonald's Scissors Cut Paper Wrapstone. Scissors Cut Paper Wrapstone is a 1994 novel by Ian McDonald, and from the blurb and that opening quote we had from Neil Stephenson, it says, the creator of computer-generated images that have the power to heal, erase memories, bring ecstasy, and kill savagely. Graphic arts student Ethan Ring must brave treacherous terrain to escape those who would use his invention for evil. The story starts with two pilgrims in Japan. One is Ethan Ring, the other is simply called he's often simply called Eth, and the other is Masahiko, or Mas. We immediately learn that Buddhism has become unpopular and that Neo-Shinto, a tech-enhanced version of Shinto, is rather popular. Though it already is in present-day Japan, but religion is not popular, though. Shinto, of course, straddling kind of philosophy and religion, and, has its high place in Japanese identity. The whole thing starts very Japanese and spiritual, I'd say. We learn of some artificiality in Ethan's part dealing with hands. It's not immediately clear what's going on there. It is certainly not the grungy, visceral experience you get in other cyberpunk, so I feel like this is why it's sometimes been labeled post-cyberpunk, though it definitely has moments of this. But it feels more Japanese than most, even though I guess cyberpunk has connections to Japan, even its origin, like Neuromancer. We do have references to places in Europe and South Africa, for example, though. And we do get pop culture references included in anime and manga. And it seems to be set in the 2020s, interestingly enough. And Japan is in a post-industrial revolution. Akiras, named for the famous anime, of course, roam the land as cyberpunks or bandits themselves. There's lovely phrases that you'll find in some of my favorite books. There's topics of art with Cubism and Boccioni and Kandinsky and Expressionism and whatnot brought up, and some others. Those in the humanities will probably know. And that's one thing I always like about cyberpunk, the meshing of the humanities with the scientific. And I think, like Stevenson says, though, it definitely is lyrical in a sense. I feel like McDonald knows what he's doing in a literary sense, and he does a good job of it. There's also references like sword and sorcery, and I think I spotted one to Coming Attraction by Fritz Leiber. There is much Kabbalah, psychology as well, and quotes from Judeo-Christian scripture. An idea of absolute imagery that plays at essentially God with a capital G. Also some parallels to Snow Crash, of course, which they came out pretty close to each other. We also have kinships which seem to be a communal parenting of just women. There's also this idea of reincarnation, and not letting people die from, this high tech that is existing. The plot itself goes back and forth. There's time at school and after, to time during the pilgrimage itself, switching pretty often, flashbacks and present and whatnot. Makes a good arc overall and gives us information as needed. I liked the Tori touch, very Japanese, and marks the end and the beginning of a spiritual journey well, and it's a very nice touch, actually. That I've tried to do something in a similar story as well, actually. But here's a quote real quick that I'll just close it out with. Anorexia, bulimia, cognitive metabolic disorder. They have found new names and faces for it, but at its heart, its name has always been self-loathing. Its face, self-destruction. The doctor who called it disease of the spirit advised well.